Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Vids and the Fly from the Crossing Out Podcast, episode 12 of Vids and the Fly. Okay, so this is kind of a by the seat of my pants video. I'm having some software issues with my soundboard on my podcast equipment there. So my apologies, everybody out there. It's been getting difficult the past couple of weeks in regards to getting podcasts out in a timely manner. However, I will persevere. So if you like and hear what you see, click like, subscribe, share this podcast or video all over your social media platforms too. And if you feel like donating, please donate. Every little bit helps if you can. Links will be in my description to donate at your leisure. So the past couple of weeks in this country, it's been very, very, chaotic. Bills C2, C8, C9. That Gary Endesangri, who can't decide what a gun law is, who wants to look after his friends rather than actual gun owners. And, of course, our Blarney Carney, our Prime Minister. And, of course, all the elbows up crowd that are just loving his bullshit. It's Trudeau 2.0, right? So make a long story short, enough. Enough of the crap, enough of the chaos. Enough of this stuff, okay? Like, when are Canadians going to wake up and realize that there's more to this country than the whole let's be nice and that we say sorry and all this stuff? There's more to our country than just hockey. Yes, we've got some history of unfairness. We've got some history of inequalities. But we also have a history of fairness and equalities. Okay? You look at any college application out there right now, and they dedicate either a page and a half or 2 pages to your identity, or your gender, or your personal feelings when it comes to applying for your scholarship or whatever courses you want to take. Enough of the bullshit. Okay? Now, to some of my liberal friends out there that constantly say that the Liberal Party is misunderstood, and then people calling me a traitor because I don't tolerate the Liberal brand, let me tell you something. Here is something you should listen to. Okay? Not the person, not the party, but the constituents and the country. That is probably the best motto or the best ethic to follow, especially in our parliamentary system, ladies and gentlemen, if you had to decide to run for office, whether it's municipal, whether it's provincial, whether it's federal, okay? Not the person, not the party, but the constituents, that means the people in your riding, and the country. If you don't love this country, then don't run. If you don't like being here, then why be here? If this country is so full of bigotry and racism and hatred, why do you stay? Why do you stay? I stay because I fought for this country. I stay because it's my home and native land. Not to sound, smart. Heaven forbid if people use their own personal intelligence and their own thoughts in today's society. Okay? But this is getting ridiculous for every Canadian out there. It doesn't matter if you're a senior. It doesn't matter if you're a boomer. It doesn't matter if you're a Gen Xer or a Gen Z or Z or a millennial, okay? There's a lot of people out there that are really throwing a rut in our system, okay? Look at Bill C2, C8, C9. Basically, going through your mail and checking your privacy, going online and condemning you for a meme, or promoting a hate crime, or accusing you of a hate crime if you say something you disagree with. Now, I don't have time to go through all the semantics, but I'll leave links in my descriptions for you to follow to see what C2, C8, and C9 are. Now, we've got our premier here, Daniel Smith, going at odds with David Eby, who's really pissed off because he doesn't want a pipeline to go through BC. It really hurts his feelings that he was called un-Canadian. Poor guy. You are un-Canadian. Why? Because you wanted $1 billion from the Canadian government so you could buy BC ferries, some new ferries from China. From China. Okay? Not Canadian workers building those ferries in Victoria or Halifax. No, you outsource the Canadian currency to pay Chinese workers to build the ferries for $1 billion. Maybe that's why Chrystia Freeland left in such a hurry, to be a special envoy to Ukraine. Oh, interesting. Now, can you say egg on your face? Hello. So, let's get a few things straight here too, ladies and gentlemen. I like to remind people that do watch my show or watch my videos, and you happen to be of the liberal persuasion, Wake the fuck up. Okay? Winter is on its way now. People are losing their jobs. People are losing their minds. And you can sit there and wave the flag of the L brand all you want, saying, oh, they're going to bring food to school for the kids. We shouldn't be in an economic position where children have to rely on school cafeterias to feed them. Okay? We should be in an economic position where kids can get up, have a breakfast with their family, catch the school bus or catch the ride to school or walk to school, have their lunch in a timely manner, and come home, have a snack, and then come home to a family dinner. But economically, there's a lot of families that are struggling and they cannot do that. My wife and I are starting to feel a pinch when it comes to some of our meals too. And just to remind you again, my wonderful audience out there, please consider donating. There's links in my description. Every little bit helps here. You know, we're all feeling a sting. I get it. There's a lot of us in this situation where things are getting tighter. But if you can manage to scramble $2, $3, $5, if I'm lucky, even $10 a donation from a good chunk that would really help me out a big deal. So please consider donating if you can. All right. But I'm not going to sit here and beg for coin. I'm not going to do an OnlyFans of body parts, what have you. Don't want to do that. To make a long story short, okay, we have got to smarten up when it comes to this accountability issue, and we got to stop looking at the mainstream media for the answers. They're not giving us the answers. My friends in Britain are seeing what Tommy Robinson is going through. He was just released from the courts because they don't have enough evidence to back up their so-called anti-terrorism or his terrorist claims, whatever charge it's coming up with too. And this whole digital ID thing is not good for anybody. And for any politician that wants to submit that for approval so the general masses can get their pieces of it, thinking that you're providing safety and security, guess again. We've all read 1984. We've all seen the World War II movies where people would say, do you have your papers? Jawohl. Papers? 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 Do you have your ID? I have my ID. I have the legal ID. I've got my driver's license. I have my gun license. I have my health card. And they want to compile it all into one big card to monitor you, to tell you what to be and what you're good enough to carry and have and all that stuff too. Not to mention the banking issues that they mention on some of these ideas. Interesting. Cue the drama music, right? But, ladies and gentlemen, enough is enough of this bullshit. Enough. Like, I hate to say it, but it's going to probably take a handful of people that might just snap one day and say, we've had enough. And then you'll see some real riots in the streets. And then you'll see some real chaos going on. And you'll see some real carnage. I'm not promoting it. And I'm not condoning that kind of actions either, too. But when you see what's happening now in the Middle East with the peace deal that Trump put together, okay, now they're releasing the hostages, okay? Now, where are these professional victims going to go in every major city in North America or in Europe, too? I guess some of the useful idiot funds have dried out. So I guess some of these kids and these protesters are going to go back to being regular SJWs, trying to find every kind of grievance possible, trying to dig up some historical facts that are somewhat irrelevant and grieve about that. What's going to happen now? How about all these college professors and bureaucrats alike that have constantly wear the keffiyeh and constantly tell people that we're committing such an atrocity for being here and being Canadian? Right? I challenge anybody out there to a debate if you want to have a debate with me. My contact information will be in my description, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm not going to shy away. I might take some time to get back to you on something, but if you like and hear what you see, click like, subscribe, and give me a thumbs up, all that good stuff too, ladies and gentlemen. But like I say, I'm not going to beat a dead horse here too. Like I said, I've had some software issues with my podcast gear. Something wrong with my soundboard. The microphone will not stay on. Maybe my system's compromised. I don't know. I'll have to do an antivirus check. However, it's getting difficult to keep up on things. With my work schedule, with bills, trying to get myself out of debt, trying to make the tax man happy because I've said this before, they're garnishing my wages every 2 weeks. So if I make, let's say, $1,800, they take an additional $5. Yeah, they do. Because of interest. or the CRA math, because you have regular mathematics, right? You have regular mathematics that the accountants show you when it comes to your tax filing. Then you have your glorious Canadian Revenue Agency mathematics, where they just throw in there to justify their idiocy, where they justify taking more of your money that they've never earned, right? Of course, death and taxes are certain, so we've been told, but they're more certain if you're an accountant or if you're a frickin' mortician. But I'm not going to dwell on that anymore. Anyhow, it's been an interesting couple of weeks, especially in Canada, with the buffoonery that sits in Parliament as we speak, as well as the leadership or people that pass themselves off as leaders. Just a real shit show, ladies and gentlemen. And I suggest you question the authority and you start standing up for what's better for you and your families, what's going to help you and your families and your friends. We all want to have more money in our pockets. We all want to have our bills paid. We all want to carry on with our lives to be left the hell alone. It's that simple. But unfortunately, we're not getting that simplistics anymore. Things are getting harder. You elect somebody that says elbows up and they make your life harder. Where are your elbows now? Probably behind your back with your head down. Or you're sitting on the table doing this, going, I was wrong. A lot of people are wrong, but I'm also finding people that are my age, or a bit older, or a bit younger, don't have the fucking balls to admit it. Maybe you better start admitting it, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe some of you better wake up and realize you've got voter's remorse. And you voted for somebody out of fear, rather than out of pragmatism or practicality, rather than dedication, rather than love of country. And I'm not saying be a flag waver out there and love this country to death. I do. You, as a viewer, as a taxpayer, as a consumer, as someone who needs to be entertained, you decide for yourself. But we need the freedom in this country to do so. And the bills I mentioned, C2, C8, C9, are not going to help us. And getting into debt is not going to help us. There's also talk of more of this procurement issue coming on with our military. Oh, the government's going to create another office, a special office of military procurement. Like we need more fucking bureaucrats, like we need more civilians to sit there and worry about a certain pipe or a certain type of paint, rather than actual trained personnel that can get things into our military in a timely manner. But who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Oh my goodness. Anyhow, folks, it's been a Thanksgiving weekend. Hope everybody had a good blessing of turkey and stuffing and potatoes and fatty foods. Try to be grateful. Try to be kind. Try to be decent to people. Just do what you can to keep your head above water. Just to remind you too, again, ladies and gentlemen, if you feel like donating, and I really encourage this time if you can donate $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $10 if you can. If I can get at least 10 or 12 years or 20 years to give a decent donation, that would help me out a great deal. Every time you see something from the Krusty Canuck, the podcast, or a vid on the fly, please consider donating, because every little bit helps. I like to think I'm working for it here, but I'm not going to force you to give, right? But when you think about it, how many people out there spend $6.99 or $7.99 to check out some hottie on OnlyFans, right? To actually check out a girl you'll never meet. But me, you can have an interactive conversation with me where I try to bring some value to your brain, to your conscience, and to your life, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm not going to dwell on that, so donate if you can. But like I say, look after your friends and loved ones. Do what you can to help you in these trying times. Keep your head above water, and do not take any more bullshit, ladies and gentlemen. This is just, wow. I'm 52 years old, and see the lines in my eyes, because I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm angry. There's a lot of Canadians out there that are hurting. A lot of people around the world that are hurting. But we should focus more on our country rather than what's going on over there, or what Donald Trump is saying here, or what this person's saying down in this state. Let's focus on Canada, shall we? Can we do that? Is that allowed? Is that not passé? Is it okay? How about you elbows up people? Is that okay? Worry about Canada? How about the people who actually fought for this country? You're looking at one of them, ladies and gentlemen. You are looking at one of them. Anyhow, I have been Krusty Canuck on this beautiful 14th of October, past Thanksgiving. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Do what you can in trying times, and just be realistic. Just try to be good. Just try to be sincere, ladies and gentlemen. Try to be realistic, and nothing wrong with standing on guard for thee. And like I always say, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, folks, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.